Hi, it's Damien Christoph here. Are you ready to take your life to the most incredible level possible in 2016? Well, we've had 3 sold-out wellness summits these last few years, but honestly, nothing comes close to the Wellness Breakthrough, and we have just 3 spots remaining. Your favourite wellness couch experts, the Wellness Guys, Karen Smith, Kim Morrison, Quirky Cooking's Joe Whitten, Marcus Pearce, and of course Carl Brock are gathering in the Dandenong Ranges for 3 days and 2 nights for one incredible event. If you want possibly the greatest peer group in health and wellness to help you catapult your life to the next level, then we'd love to see you at the Wellness Breakthrough from February 5th to the 7th. But again, there's only 3 spots available. Entry to the Breakthrough is by application only, and to apply, simply email your contact details to marcus@thewellnesscouch.com.
thewellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives. This is Up for a Chat with Cindy O'Mara, Karen Smith, and Kim Morrison.
Here we are, up for a chat about the hottest topics that are important to you, inspiring you to awaken the change within. I'm Karen Smith.
I'm Kim Morrison.
And our beautiful Cindy, well, she's still on Morton Island living it up. And as I said last week, I so want to be her when I grow up. But we've actually got a really cool show for you guys today. We've got part 2 of the stunning Yvette Luciano, CEO and founder of Earth HQ. Now, if you haven't listened to last week's podcast, let me tell you, you are missing out. So do yourself a favor. Close down this podcast, go and listen to last week's one, because that is part 1 of the most exceptional story, and I have to say one of the most fun conversations we've had. This is part 2, where we're talking all about Yvette's adventures with her going from somebody who has lived a rock star lifestyle, to say the least, gone through some of life's hugest challenges, thrown her the greatest curveballs, and sent her skyrocketing to rock bottom. And because of her inner strength, and because she has an outlook on life that puts a silver lining on everything, and she doesn't even try, like it comes naturally. She's looking for the gold. She's looking for the gift in her experiences. She was able to bring herself out of one of life's greatest challenges. So much so now, Yvette's able to share what she does with hundreds of thousands of people across the globe. So we're talking to Yvette this week on her business, what she's created, why she's created it, and what her intentions are for everybody who's listening. And I guarantee you people, if you guys have got any interest or inspiration to start a business, think about taking your hobbies to the next level, find a way to find your voice, find a way to build what Yvette calls as a platform where you can start to take your message to the masses or to more people, then this is so a podcast that you want to be paying attention to. So get your notepads and your pens out. But aside from that, this is a podcast that's going to leave you feeling completely inspired and ready to take charge of your life in a whole new way that comes from your heart and comes from your soul. Not because you think you have to, but because you want to. So welcome to the show, Miss Yvette.
Thank you so much for having me back.
Awesome. So in our last show, we finished off with you talking about how, losing Jess Ainscoe as somebody who was so special to you, and a way that you have reconciled that loss for yourself is by you living your life in an amplified and an accelerated way. And she's a part of your life. And we were joking about her being the CEO of your company now, because she's, kind of assimilated herself into you. Tell us about what you've gone ahead and created, and tell us about the great blossom that you've got growing there.
Well, yeah, so what I was saying about that I sort of see Jess now as my spiritual co-CEO, who is my go-to person when my sort of business advisor, that I'll go for a walk down the beach and have a little conversation with her and see where she guides me. And I also think about, if she was to all of a sudden reappear tomorrow, come back to life, the miracle happens, she's all of a sudden sitting here in human form next to me, what would I love to tell her that I've been up to? What would she say? Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. Oh my God, that's exactly what you should be doing. Oh my God, that's just amazing. And so it really helps guide a lot of the decisions that I make, and because we were driven by so many of the same things and have so many of the same values and intentions in this world, and so a lot has changed in my business, in my career, in my business over the last 10 months or so, and when I first started Earth Events, Earth HQ, it really, which was 3 years ago, I never would have ever thought that it was going to become what it became. It really started off as the first event that I put on as Earth Events was really just an excuse for me to put on a night with some of my friends, that they could all come and talk, and it was a fundraiser for UN Women, celebrating International Women's Day in March 2013. And basically I got a bunch of my friends on stage together, charged, I don't know, $50 a ticket or something like that went to the charity. And it was called a celebration of self-love and sisterhood. And I remember saying to my friends at the time, so this is Amanda Ruzzi, Jess Ainscoe, Melissa Ambrosini, and Tara Bliss. And it was still, they weren't unknown, but they definitely didn't have the careers that you can see them, successfully enjoying today. And I remember even saying to them, even if only 5 people show up, we'll have a fun night anyway. And it'll be just a little bit of money for the charity. And it was really low expectations. I mean, I knew that it was, going to be fun, and I knew that it was going to be really enjoyable, but I didn't really have high expectations. I had no idea what events in this industry, if they would be popular at all. And, we sold out 100 tickets within a day or two. And then it was, all the people begging across the country, oh, can you come to us? Can you come to us? And then we went to Sydney and Melbourne and was selling out everywhere. And then it just kind of went from there. And then I just started putting on more events. And it just sort of blossomed from there. And, a year later, I found myself doing a fantastic tour with Pete Evans, who I've since done lots of different projects and tours with, and love working with Pete, and it just sort of just grew from then. If I was to say to you that, right through to working with someone who was at the time one of my favorite teachers, Gabrielle Bernstein from New York, and who's now become one of my very, very dear sisters and very important very significant person in my life, personally and professionally. But if you'd have told me 3 years ago that any of that was going to happen, I would have never believed anyone. I would have never believed you. And I to be honest, I never had a plan or a goal or anything like that in mind. It was really just something fun that I was doing with friends, and maybe to raise a little bit of money for some great charities, and that was really it. But then it just kind of exploded, and then from there it became. So I was working with Jess in her business, so not only with her events, but also with helping her nurture her community and develop new offerings for them and ways for her to serve her audience and inspire people and then it sort of, just went from there. And then I'd work with different speakers on our tours and I would have such a great time working with them, and we'd develop such a great relationship that then they'd want me to continue working with them in other capacities, whether it be on their PR or marketing or just, as a sort of sounding board for them when they would have ideas, or when they would have, or when they'd need support with marketing, or to someone that they trusted to talk to, a confidant, and someone to brainstorm with, or talk through some challenges that they were having with their publisher or their, agent or whatever. So it just yeah, just all of a sudden, it was just exploding, and that's Earth HQ. That's where Earth Events sort of morphed into Earth HQ. But then, after Jess passed away, so much changed for me, and I was actually in the middle of the biggest tour that we've ever done, which was a Pete Evans 26-date mammoth tour. That we were doing events for anywhere up to, I think our biggest event on that tour was about 1,500 people in a room, and it was just huge and hugely successful in so many ways, and something I'm so proud of us for doing, and really, proud of Pete for doing as well, because that was a really, big thing for him energetically to do that, and definitely changed so many people's lives. And I still hear to this day people telling me, oh, I took my mum to that tour and she's been on a health kick ever since, and she's totally turned around this health condition or that health condition, and so I'm so proud of that, and I'm so proud that that's part of Earth Events' legacy. But Jess passing away halfway through that tour definitely was, changed so much for me, and Pete was so beautiful and very understanding about me needing to really have some downtime in the middle of that. And then after that, I took almost 6 months off and pulled back and restructured the business. And I don't know, something changed, something definitely changed. And I started to notice that there was a lot of amazing people that had, especially when I was, Googling and trying to find guidance. How do I get through this loss? And also I was going through another loss in my life, which was that my doctors and I had just made the decision that it was definitely never going to be safe for me to have children. Definitely. That the option of me ever having children was taken off the table. It was always a maybe after my cancer diagnosis, but it was 100% unquestionably taken off the table, to the point of discussing an oophorectomy, which is removing my ovaries, which is something that is going to happen at some stage, hasn't happened yet, will happen at some point when I'm ready. But, to that point, so very, very final, not going to have children unless I have the miracle of finding an amazing surrogate for our embryos a little frozen little embryo babies in Sydney that we have from pre-cancer treatment. But that I was going through that loss at the same time. Now, I found that out maybe I'd say maybe a month after Jess passed away. So, in fact, the very last conversation that I had with Jess, just before she passed, was her telling me, oh, you've got to have a baby. It's going to happen. Get it sorted out. You're going to have a baby. I don't want to hear any more about you not having babies. You're going to have a baby. Go and get it sorted out. She was so adamant that I was going to have a baby, and I probably will in one form or another with a surrogate down the track. But it's just so funny that was that was how much it was such a hot topic at the moment, that Jess and I were always talking about this baby thing, me having a baby, because I was so obsessed with having a baby, and she was obsessed with making sure that I had a baby. She used to always say, you and Isaac are going to be the best parents. All these other people go and have babies, but you and Isaac are going to be the best parents. So you guys have to have a baby. And, and I remember, and when she was really unwell, I would do visualizations sometimes to try to make me feel better. That would be seeing her well, holding my baby, because that was basically my two biggest things that I was praying for at that time. And so, obviously it's quite, it's been quite an adjustment to realize that that's definitely not going to happen, definitely not in that way, not with Jess. But anyways, so I was going through both of those losses in a really, really short period of time. And obviously everything changed for me. My perspective changed. So going back to what I was saying about the Googling. So I was desperately trying to find something to help me. A book or something's good. I was just, in that desperate hands and knees, but, with my hands on the keyboard, on the Google, something's going to help me. And, and I was Googling things like, how to grieve, or how to grieve your best friend, or how to grieve motherhood, or how to, all of these things all jumbled up, all happening all at the same time. And I started to find some really amazing people, and it became really quite frustrating to me that why are these people easy to find, and that there must be other people out there desperately trying to find people like this. There must be other people in my situation right now that need to know about these amazing books and amazing people that I'm discovering. And there was even one incredible book that I found at that time that I was talking with Gabby Bernstein about, and she was like, "Oh my God, we're going to make this guy so famous." She was just like, "We're going to make this. We're going to do this." And it was actually a guy who had written an incredible book, but he'd passed away, and then that even motivated me even more. I'm like, "Oh my God, like." And he only just passed away a year before, and he had such all this amazing stuff that the world needed to know, and I just became really obsessed with this is my new thing now. My new mission is going to be raising up the platforms and profiles of all of these incredible people that have such an important and helpful message and work and story to share with the world. But I was really overwhelmed with how do I do this? I can't do PR for all these people. There's already so many people that contact me every day wanting me to help them with their PR or their events or their marketing. And I just don't have enough time in the day. Or, publishers contacting me, asking me, can you help with this person? We really want to release this book for this person, but we need them to build a profile first. Can you help them? And just not having enough time in the day for me to do all of that amongst looking after my own self and my own self-care and that was basically the birth of the idea for the Academy, the Earth Academy, which I've since created, and the Soulpreneurs program, which I've been, blood, sweat, and tears pouring my soul into over these last few months. And it's basically, a way for me to bring all these incredible light workers, soulpreneurs, healers, speakers, teachers, writers, together into this community to support each other. And while myself, along with incredible teachers like all of you, Kim, Karen, and Cindy, teaching them as well how to do it, how to, first of all, have the courage to rise up, have the courage to step up and share their light and share their message and share their story, and the clarity on what exactly that looks like and what exactly is right for them. Because for some people it might be traveling the world as a speaker, whereas for some others it might be doing some blog posts. For some others it might be teaching some beautiful local community classes, for 5 people. For some people it might be, just doing some incredible life-changing one-on-one work. It doesn't necessarily need to be becoming a New York Times bestseller or being on Oprah or any of those things. There are so many ways that we can make such a big difference in the world. The healers that I've worked with are complete unknowns in the mainstream world, but they've changed my life, and so it's about helping them as well. But the people that want to take it that step further, absolutely, I want to help you get on TV, and I want to help you, get your books published and all those things. And we go through that through the program, 100%. That's but that courage and that clarity, and that, people really need to define success on their own terms. This is something really important. Because it's not always about creating a multi-6-figure, multi-7-figure business and all of those things. There might be mums out there that, that their devotion is to being an amazing mum, but they might want to also, maybe do an inspirational blog post once a week, or do a local, mums and bubs healthy eating class or aromatherapy class or something like that a week. And that is freaking awesome, and that may be success, and that may be your terms of success, and that's incredible. I mean, one of the ways that I measure my success is, do I have enough time every day to be down the beach with my dogs? Because if I don't have enough time to be down the beach with my dogs every day, if I don't have enough spare time to make that happen, then to me, I'm not successful. No matter what my bank account's saying, me being down the beach with my dogs, that is my that's my sweet. That's my happiest moment of the day. So if I miss out on that, then to me, I've got to rearrange some things in my schedule. And and I've got to change up my commitments. So,
can you tell us, Yvette, then what the course looks like? It's a 6-month course. It's broken down into different modules, and you've obviously got, videos and audios and group coaching and support, things like. The thing that I love about what you're doing is it's not what I'd call, don't mean this to sound bad, it's not like you're dumbing it down, but you're actually making it really simple for those of us, especially entrepreneur types, creative types, whose minds go everywhere, they've got so many millions of thoughts, and then they might get bored, or they get a knockback, or they get something that doesn't work right, so they try something else. So just walk us through exactly what the program is, because I really think this is going to help a lot of people who want to get their message with clarity and courage to do what we all know that they need to do.
Yeah, so it's 6 months. So I basically incorporated everything that I wish that I had at the beginning of starting my business. So when I started Earth HQ, I had never started a business before. I didn't have a business degree, didn't have anything, didn't even study university, didn't even finish high school, as I mentioned in the other episode. So it's really for people who, so they're going to spend, so we spend 6 months together. They're part of the Soulpreneur community, supporting each other, helping each other. So there's an online group where they can communicate and support each other, which I think is one of the most important parts of the whole program. Because as we all know, having relationships and friendships and connections with other people that are on missions to do similar things to us, with similar intentions to us, they really help us stay on track and focused and in taking those steps forward, especially when there's a lot of other people in our lives that maybe don't understand this crazy entrepreneurial spark that we have or dream that we have. So there's the online community. There's every 3 weeks they receive a new module, so a new focus topic, whether that be on the business basics of building, of setting up your business, or and we make that really simple and really easy, right through to your branding and knowing how to getting clear on how to communicate with your audience. We also talk about, creating your platform, and being your own media. So, whether that be through your blogs or, podcasts, or creating your own digital magazine, or, or webinar series, or anything like that, through to social media, reaching out to other influencers in your industry and media, TV, magazines, print, the big blogs, all of that stuff. So basically, and really getting clear on how to soulfully attract that into your business as well. And obviously we all need to get out there and feel confident in we definitely have to show up, but also I think that there's a lot that happens when we are really creating our own beautiful platforms and nurturing our own communities, and we'll naturally attract that in as well, rather than always sort of going out there trying to get a leg up, trying to sort of go, oh, but if I get that TV spot, or if I get that magazine article, or if I get that, quite often it's the people that are doing these amazing things within their own communities that then start to naturally attract that. I definitely know that myself as an event promoter, when I'm looking at who I'm going to put on certain tours, I'll have a look at what they're doing themselves with putting themselves out there. And it's not necessarily even about the numbers or the, anything like that. It's about how much, how much commitment and enthusiasm they have to really doing it themselves and taking responsibility for their own connections with their own community. So we go through a lot of that. We, of course, dive really deep into books, whether it's self-publishing or attracting the big publishers. There's never been a better time ever than now for publishing. There's so many different opportunities and ways to get your books out there, as well as speaking. So doing your own workshops, gigs, attracting those amazing speaking opportunities, as well as all of the video blogs and, you know, all of that kind of thing. So learning how to do all of that. So we go through all of that so every 3 weeks we really focus on a different topic. And then each week there's also a little bonus elective, which can be anything from really soulful sales, so it's not feeling sleazy, right through to how to represent yourself so that you don't need to necessarily have an agent, and just basically learn. And also one of the biggest things is self-care for soulpreneurs, which is, I believe, so important. There's so many beautiful, beautiful people that are that find themselves in this industry wanting to make a difference in the world and improve the health and well-being and of you know, their community or the world, but they burn themselves out doing it because, as we all know, running a business it's hard work. And so I think that this is a really crucial, I think that almost, you know, anyone that is entrepreneurial, soulpreneurial, actually needs to step up the self-care more than anything. And more than anyone, I think it's the time that you need to be ensuring that you are taking that extra special care of yourself, because we're all guilty of not doing that. And just, you know, working ourselves down into the ground with the devotion of, oh, but I want to help all these people and I've got to get all this out. You know, it's like me doing these you know, beautiful health tours that are helping inspire people to take better care of themselves, and absolutely burning myself out doing it. It just doesn't, you know, it's just not right. It doesn't make sense. So I want everyone to learn from my mistakes with that, and the things that I've learned, and all the beautiful teachers like you guys, of the things that you do to take care of yourselves, and the lessons that you've learned along the way, both with business and because you're all just brilliant business women. And I'm so excited for Karen to teach a lot about speaking to the world, and because you're just so fantastic, Karen, and you've helped so many people with that.
But very sweet.
I think that, you know, self-care is probably one of the topics that I'm just going to, you know, get the most excited about.
And tell me, what is your definition of self-care then?
My definition of self-care, what I do for myself, or what I see as, or what I would define for other people as self-care?
Well, that's an interesting question in itself, really, isn't it? So that's creating quite a separation, isn't it, really? So I would actually suggest, Miss Beautiful Yvette, that it would be the same answer for both.
Well, my self-care requirements are probably a little bit more than some people, in the sense of, because I'm on quite a strong medication, which requires me I have to be in bed at 9 o'clock. If I'm not, I'll pay for it the next day. You know, there's things like that. So there is something, you know, so for me, my self-care is I have to be in bed by 9 o'clock, besides on a very, very special occasion. I have to, as I mentioned, be down the beach with my dogs every day. I have to be you know, regularly seeing my chiropractor, my kinesiologist, massages, definitely. A lot of things like that. My beautiful oils. Always carrying around one of my beautiful spritzers with the 28 oils. You know, the body boost, which is one of the most amazing things that I've learned from you, Kim, which is at every morning that do you want to share what the body boost is?
Well, it's such a beautiful thing that you're saying here, because I think where the body boost came from my point of view, and you both might agree with me here, but a lot of us, we are doing things in life. We're out there giving, we're doing the things that we think that we're meant to be doing. And often we forget about this beautiful thing called the body. And it's not until our body is either sick or injured do we actually ever take notice of it? So one of the questions I always ask is, did any of you wake up this morning, and I'm asking both of you this, did either of you wake up this morning and look down at your left little toe and say, oh my gosh, you are the most beautiful, amazing, incredible part of my body I could ever acknowledge. You help balance me, you help me walk, you help me run. I felt you when I felt sand between my toes when I was down at the beach with the dogs. Oh my gosh, you look so pretty, you're just gorgeous, I love tweaking you, whatever. Did you, either of you, wake up this morning and look down at your left toe and say that to your left little toe?
I did, as a matter of fact.
Well, you're probably the wrong one to ask.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I just think, but had either of you or any of us walked past the kitchen table or got up and whacked that little toe on the edge of a table, we all would have noticed it. And so again, it comes back to what we said in the first seminar or first podcast, that, it really, sometimes it's not until we're in pain that we acknowledge it. Sometimes we don't honor our body until it's overweight, or that it's got back pain, or that it's got, a toothache or something. So what the whole idea of the body boost for me was really about honoring the body in its beautiful present state, whether that has pain or no pain, or it's healthy or it's slim, or it's whatever description you want to give it. And so it's really a 2-minute ritual every morning where you get a teaspoon of oil or carrier oil. So it could be coconut oil, it could be sweet almond, it could be macadamia. You add 3 drops of your favorite oil or favorite oils or favorite blend, and you add a couple of sprays of magnesium health spray, and then you basically slap that onto the body and then rub it all in within a 1 to 2 minute period. And the whole time you're quickly rubbing just 1 teaspoon of oil into your whole body. So it's not like a greasy fish and chip shop experience. It's actually a really good pep wake me up thing. As you're going from toe to head over every little part of your body, it's giving you a chance to check in with it and say, thank you, or I acknowledge you, or, oh my gosh, you legs, underneath that little beautiful layer that's sitting there with those lovely little dimples, I know there is a beautiful powerhouse that just happened to walk me to the shops this morning. And, so even in the moments that we're knocking it, we can take a little bit of a mickey out of ourselves rather than berating it or getting upset with it. And so it's really then working up into the tummy, honoring what it is to massage our tummies. And for someone like you, Yvette, who has openly shared that she cannot physically have a child, I would say for those of us that have stretch marks on our bellies, as we're rubbing that oil blend into our tummy, rather than saying, oh, it's ugly, it's got stretch marks, we can actually turn around and say, in honor of all of those who can't have children, I really want to honor those stripes of honor for carrying a baby to full term, and what a privilege and a gift and an honor it is. So for me, teaching that coming up into the breast area, especially having you, Yvette, on the show, like honoring the breast, and I appreciate your openness and sharing your mastectomy, and so I would still say for those of us that have lost parts of our body, or perhaps parts of it isn't working so well, or perhaps it's gone altogether, it's a real chance to honor what it is now, and honor also what it has been up until this point. So, and then up into the face, up into the neck area, and then I place the hands over my face, and I literally say something positive, and it might be, I am an extraordinary soulpreneur who is on a mission to accomplish all she dreams. Or it might be, I am someone who totally honors and respects the fact that I am a mum. Even though I'm exhausted, I'm really appreciative of that today. Or on the days that it's really tough, because it's easy to say, or it's easier to say nice things on the days that it's good. But on the days that it's not so good, it's really nice to turn around and say, God, give me the courage, the grace, the strength, and the dignity to get through this day. Or I'm just grateful it rained. I'm grateful I'm breathing today. I'm grateful for the liquid gold that's coming into my body today. Whatever it is, you actually have the ability to say something that's really nice to yourself. And it's taken me a while to explain it, but that literally is a 30-second experience for me every morning. And I can say this hand on heart, there's never been a day I've missed doing the Body Boost ritual since I was 19 years of age. And I personally think it's one of the most beautiful rituals anyone could embrace from a self-care point of view. So for you to say how much it's changed your life, or at least
absolutely. And I think the number one reason why it's really impacted my life as well is because it is so quick. It is so quick. It's, 1-2 minutes. So it's not something that is, oh, okay, it's a, half an hour thing that you've got to do every day. And, because half an hour, it's very easy for life to get too busy to fit in something that is that time, that is half an hour. But something that is 1 to 2 minutes, so often when I am, in a rush in the morning, or, and I've come out of the shower and I'm really tempted to just chuck the clothes on and, just quickly get ready. But instead I'm like, I catch myself. I'm like, I've got to do the body boost. And those mornings that I think, oh, I don't have time for this. I've just got to go. And I'm always able to catch myself and think, but it's only 1 to 2 minutes. Get real. I've got time to spend more than 1 to 2 minutes today on social media at some point. I've got 1 to 2, I definitely have 1 to 2 minutes. Like, what am I prioritizing? If I don't have that 2 minutes to do something like that for myself, it's that obviously something's very wrong. If I don't have that time if I can't prioritize that over anything else, then, because I guarantee that, I'll find those 2 minutes to go on Instagram, or I'll, it's one of those things that I think that one of the reasons why it's so important for me is because every morning it's that reminder that self-care is more important than anything. It's just that little reminder. And when I catch myself, because I can catch myself in that, I don't have time for this right now. I can catch myself and go, whoa, get real here. Why do you think you're so important? Like, whoa, who thinks you're so important? I'm able to catch myself in that.
So if I was to recap, and Kaz, I want you to jump in here too, sweetheart. I've actually written down a couple of things that you've said so far as what self-care is to you. So the first thing was sleep. Now, I know you said you have to be in bed by 9, but I would suggest that for most of us, a good night's sleep is imperative. And Cindy always talks about sleep being very, very high on the list of importance. Then you talked about walking to the beach, so I'm going to call that nature. So sleep is number one. Getting into nature is number 2. Body work was really important for you, whether it's weekly, fortnightly or monthly, but at least having some commitment of some form of body work and giving back to this body that gives so much every single day, often without us even thinking about it, as Karen always does when she goes down the rabbit hole about all those trillions of cells that are working their butts off without us even thinking about it. Oils is really important for you, so daily rituals around oils, in particular the body boost. What else would you both add to this as far as the importance of self-care?
I think one of the things that has spoken volumes in the whole, double episode that we've done with Yvette is her willingness to look for the light. Because life can throw us curveballs and they can be quite hairy. But I think, certainly with the example that Yvette has shown us here is like always be looking for the light, like always be looking for the purpose, always be looking for the light side of things so that, the mind-body connection always stays as pure as it possibly can. And just even what Yvette was just saying then with her 1 to 2 minutes, make yourself a priority. No matter what it is, always make yourself a priority, whether it's food, whether it's meditation, whether it's a body boost, whether it's buying yourself a fabulous ring, potentially shoes, I think that was I think that's really important because we can get so busy and life is like that. But, and what Yvette was saying, if you can't give yourself 1 to 2 minutes in the day, there's something seriously wrong. And I reckon out of 24 hours, if we can give ourselves 1 hour to exercise or 1 hour to meditate or, whatever it is that's your thing. If we can do that, then you're in a good place. So, yeah, I got that out of it.
Absolutely. And the only other thing I'll add to that as well, which has become, such a big thing for me nowadays, is remembering the importance of fun, and that fun and play is such an incredible part of self-care. And I feel like you could almost ditch every single one of those things and just go and have a really fun night, like a truly fun night. I'm not talking about going and like trashing yourself, but I'm saying a really fun night, like a night out dancing with your best friend or your partner or something, or it's just some, really fun, hilarious, we'll go to Disneyland or whatever, which I did
Yvette,
last year.
I was going to say that, Yvette, I personally think, having watched you over the last couple of years, and then, of course, the loss of Jess, and you really, it did feel like you went into a holding zone. I wouldn't say it was really down or that, but you were certainly in a place of not yourself, which is understandable. Grief. It was full-on grief. The minute I saw you with Mickey Mouse ears on, with Isaac standing with those wings at Disneyland, I don't know, Karen, would you agree?
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's almost, her life went, it was like a flick. No, a switch was flicked, not a flick was switched. A switch was flicked, and I think that is you to a T, saying that fun is the ultimate. I mean, you can have fun sleeping too, let's just say. I mean, lying there with Isaac would be quite a bit of fun, I'm just saying.
Every show.
It could strum my guitar any time.
Is she serious? Did she say that? Oh, goodness gracious.
The most gorgeous human being. But you're right, everything you do, Yvette, is fun-based. Is nutrition and movement high quality for you? I just sort of skimmed over that, didn't I?
Yeah, look, absolutely. But it not to the point that it takes. I mean, that's just now become a factor in my life. It's been part of my life now for 5 years. It's almost a non-negotiable for me, but not to the point now of, like if I'm being real about it. I mean, last week when I saw you, Kim, after I'd just come back from my brother's wedding, and to be honest, I'd spent a week in Sydney not doing any of the self-care things that I was just talking about. I
danced a lot.
I definitely wasn't in nature, and I don't even think I was doing my body boost. I definitely had my oils with me, because I remember people commenting to me at the wedding about how beautiful. Everyone would say, "Oh, you smell so beautiful," and I'd do a little spritzer on them. 28, I'm like this little salesperson, showing everyone that was. And I was definitely, I was eating in all my old favourite restaurants in Sydney. Like, I was really not taking that greater care of myself, and I don't normally really drink all that much, and I had an extra wine that night at my brother's wedding than I normally would, but I was dancing the whole night like a crazy person, just dancing, like, probably because I'd missed it so much. I was just having such a blast with Isaac and my family and my friends, and I came back, and Isaac and I were even saying, "Oh God, like, we put on a bit of weight, and we're going to have to detox now. We're going to have to detox for a couple of weeks because we really pushed it this week in Sydney." But the day that I came back, literally the day that I came back, and I had dinner with a bunch of friends, and Kim was there, and everyone was just saying, "God, you look good. God, you look good." And I heard it for the days after I got back. Everyone just kept saying, "God, you look so good. You look so good." And I was just like, "Really?" But it was the fun. It was that I was beaming with fun and joy, and I think that there's something really in that, and I think that was a really big missing piece for me for the first few years of my healing, and it's the missing piece that I really, over the last 6 months, really discovered is really important, and something that I, moving forward, am really trying to embrace more of in my life.
Sorry, sweetheart, would you say then this program is one of the ways of you to express your joy and your happiness and excitement around that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And already one of the biggest things that I'm absolutely loving is, so we opened up for an early intake at the end of last year and had some really amazing people already sign up. And we gave them a little bonus sort of mastermind day, and we also had a beautiful workshop as well. And being able to spend time with these people, with these up and coming soulpreneurs that I now have the opportunity over the next 6 months to mentor and coach and support, and really have a really great time with them, getting to know them, and I bring fun in. I definitely bring fun into it as well, because we've all done way too many business courses that are just not fun at all. And it's, you know, when we talk about silly things and we get really into the spirit animals and discovering everyone's spirit animals and how to bring your spirit animals into your business and your career and all that. And there's lots of fun stuff. And some of the guest teachers that we have, like Sarah, who's just released an spirit animal card deck. So we're going to do all this special stuff with that. So, you know, it's just bringing a lot of joy. And we had Rebecca Campbell, who's a brilliant author from the UK. Her book Light is the New Black is fantastic, and she led this really fun dance, and it was just, you know, we've just done so, and we got Wes Carr to come in, and he played some of his new music and was talking a lot about following a life purpose and his experiences with going into Australian Idol and winning that, and you know, so it really is. I feel like this is absolutely This is Soulpreneurs, and the Earth Academy is really, it's just bringing everything that I love into this one place, which is, you know, definitely, you know, business and marketing and PR and events and all of these things that can actually be really fun when they're approached in a certain way. And I believe that the more you approach them with fun and joy and positivity anyway, the more successful they are. I really believe that. An example is when you're putting on an event and you're thinking, what can I do to make this, like, what's going to be fun for me? How am I going to, like what I mentioned earlier about the first events that I put on that were just, it'll just be some fun for me and my friends. Hopefully some other people will come, and so we'll raise some money for some charities. That was the whole intention. And that, I guess, continues to be, I even said this morning to my team when we were talking about this big, beautiful Soulpreneurs conference that we're going to do in the middle of the year in the Sunshine Coast, and it's just going to be this extraordinary weekend. We're going to have a graduation dinner for the people finishing the program, but then we're going to have also a weekend with a ton of incredible speakers, which I'll be talking all of you ladies into teaching there as well, and being guest speakers there as well. But you know, all of the whole conference that we're creating is basically, and I even said when I was talking about all my ideas of the team, and at one point I just laughed and I said, I'm really just creating this because I'm really just creating this for me, because I just want to do this. I just want to be there. I just want to be there. I just want to be part of it. You know, and that's really, I guess, what the Academy and Soulpreneurs is about for me. And even, you know, the friendships that I'm already starting to form with the people that have already signed up in the early intake, and that I've already started mentoring, and you know, these people are becoming my friends, and the things that they're doing is just incredible, and the things that they're, and quite often just and that's why the live part is also a big part. So it is an online program, and people can do it from anywhere in the world. Absolutely, and we've already got people signing up from New Zealand and the UK and the US, but you know, the live part is also, you know, really wonderful for the people that can be there for the live experiences. We're doing some things in Sydney and Melbourne, and we're going to do some things in the US later in the year as well. But yeah, I think the Sunshine Coast Mid-Year Conference is going to probably be the most fun thing that I've ever created, and it's just going to be wild. But yeah, that I think that the live component is so important, as I mentioned before, about the relationships and because it is so important for us to have our, you know, soulpreneur sisters and brothers and supporting each other. And God knows that I don't think that I would have come to this point with my business if it wasn't for having so many, you know, fellow soulpreneurs that, and you guys have definitely, become that for me as well. And because we get it, we get what each other are experiencing, and when a lot of our friends or partners or families just would have no idea. And it takes a lot of courage to do this and to step out of the way and commit to serving the world and doing and putting ourselves out there and being really vulnerable and especially because all these beautiful soulpreneurs are very, very sensitive people, and we put ourselves out there every day and to be criticized and to be all of that stuff, but and that's why we need to always be supporting each other, because we get it, because we get what each other go through, and it's just important for us to always remember, sort of like keep our eye on the prize of why we're doing it, and to let that mission be so much bigger than our fear. And I've had to overcome my, me being terrified of public speaking, which is one of the reasons I was never the singer of the band and always the bass player, because I just wanted to be the cool chick in the background. I never wanted to be the one with the microphone. And all of a sudden now I'm, getting on stage and speaking and doing all of these things. And Gabby's been a big part of coaching me with that. But it's thankfully, but it's the only reason I'm able to do it is because I care so much more about this message and care so much more about getting out to get people up, getting them to rise up and helping them do it and teaching them how to do it. I care so much more about that than my fear. That my fear kind of needs to just take a back seat to that.
There's been no accidents, has there? There's been absolutely no accidents in your whole journey. In last week's podcast and this week's podcast, I just, it's almost like you are event organising for us to be our own rock stars in our own band, creating our own audience with a like-minded group of rock fans. And it's just like, it's insane, really, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Kaz.
No, I was going to say, I think it sounds like so much fun.
I know. I was going to say.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, and that's one of the whole intentions. And that's why, one of the things that I say is like, say to people is, come and let's have fun healing the world together, because that's what it needs to be. And also that quite often I think, when people are on this mission to heal the world and teach about nutrition or movement or meditation or anything like that, one of the reasons why it can be very hard to get to sort of get people on board that maybe haven't really opened their eyes up to that world yet, or maybe they're not open to eating healthy yet, or they're not open to meditating yet, or anything like that. And I think that quite often they actually see that world, the world of health or spirituality, as quite serious and quite dull, to be completely honest, and almost like boring, almost like they have to give up their fun, crazy, wild life to go and be a healthy person that eats kale and meditates every day. Like they see that as, it's almost like they've got to make a sacrifice, and the sacrifice is fun, or, their wildness, or their, and I think that, and what we all know is that is not true. What we all know is absolutely that is not true. And it's, some of the most crazy, fun, wild people that I know eat beautifully and meditate every day and really take care of themselves. And if anything, gives them more energy and more effervescence and vibrancy to be able to do all those beautiful things. But I think that it's really important for us to be leading by example. That's why I really want to encourage these soulpreneurs that do want to be teachers they need to still be having fun, because people need to see that. People need to see that you don't have to change who you are. And in fact, I believe the opposite to having to change who you are, because I believe that authenticity absolutely absolutely breeds abundance. I believe that the more real you are, particularly now, because people are seeing through the online crap, they're seeing through the falseness, they're seeing through the highlight reels and the fakeness and the, you know, all of and the acting and all of that kind of stuff. And it's the people that are 100% completely real and unique and authentic and down to earth they're the ones that are going to just rise and take off, because the world's over the other stuff now.
Yvette, what would you say to the person who's listening to this and going, oh, I'd love to do that, but, you know, I'm a nutritionist, but there's no way, you know, there's people like Cindy and Pete Evans and Dr. Libby out there, or, you know, there's all these mind care experts out there. I mean, how could you ever compete with the gorgeous Karen Smith or Gabby, or what do you say to people that, yeah, well, it doesn't matter. People compare. We all compare ourselves to others, but you know, we always feel like maybe it's too late. What would you say to the person who thinks it's too late, or there's too many people out there doing it already?
And this is a big one, and this is something that really holds so many people back. And it's that, you know, what would have happened if Karen Smith had said, oh, Louise Hay's already done a really great job in this field. I think that I'll just leave it to her. Or, you know, it's such or if Adele, the singer Adele, had said, there's already so many other really amazing female singers out there. I don't really think that there's space for me. You know, just what would have happened? And that's something absolutely that I need to say. But another thing is that there are still so many more people in this world that need help than there are people helping, if that makes sense. So there are so many people that we need so many more people out there doing this work. And also that there might be some way that you communicate something. You know, that, like, you know how we can all hear the same kind of thing over and we can read 10 books on the same kind of theory about nutrition, or the same you know, spiritual belief or way or new way of thinking, but it's all based on a lot of the same things. But then we'll just read one thing, that one line, or we'll just hear one thing that someone said that somehow just resonates with us so much. It's the language they've used, or it's just the way that they've strung the sentence together, or the story that they've used as an example, that completely, it just clicks, and it's like, oh my gosh, I get it now. I totally get it now. And how do you know that you're not going to be that person that helps someone else finally get it and finally, you know, click? And this is where the importance of the authenticity really comes, because when everyone is out there just copying each other and using the same language and telling the same stories and using, you know, and using the exact same language, that is not going to really help anyone, because we need the people that are going to be super, super authentic and unique, because no one is like you. So there is no other Kim Morrison. So when Kim Morrison is 100% authentic, I mean, there are other people doing the same kind of work as Kim Morrison, but no one speaks with in the exact same way as Kim Morrison. So if Kim was to change the way that she talks to be like someone else that's already doing something and already having success, then it sort of wipes out any need for there to be. Am I making sense? I'm sorry if I'm not articulating it clearly, but it's, you know. I
remember when we put our publishing when we went to first publish our first book in 2000, and I said we wanted to present this book on aromatherapy, and a couple of people actually said, oh, there's so many books out there on aromatherapy. And I remember thinking that going in, and that's why we called it like chocolate for women, because we thought if it was aromatherapy for women, that might not be the same. But, you know, doing aromatherapy is like doing chocolate. It was kind of like a fun way of approaching it, yet it was the same message. And I'll never forget the publishers that took us on said, there's always room for another good book, whether it's a recipe book, a cookbook, a aromatherapy book, a meditation book, a speaking book, whatever it is, there's always room for another good one. So that was something I've never forgotten.
Absolutely. And that is so true. And also remembering that quite often when we're really in this world, so Kim, you being really in the aromatherapy world, you're really aware of all the other aromatherapy books. But to someone just walking into a bookstore or someone just walking on the street, like they're not so aware. So for those of us who are really into nutrition and want to be a nutritionist, and we follow all the nutritionists and we totally know everything that they're doing and we're so across it, and we can start believing that, the nutritionists are just everywhere. There's so many of them, but it's because we're focusing on them, if that makes sense. And so to just remember that when you're, and especially there are people that might go and study a nutrition course or a coaching course or something like that, and then they'll be around their fellow students, and then sometimes they can start feeling like, see, there's so many other nutritionists or there's so many other coaches, but it's because you're hanging out in those circles.
So I think, I think the value out of today's show has really been about people waking up to their own inner power and their own desires to, work towards bringing their own sense of fulfillment to life and having fun while they're doing it. And I think certainly with what you've created with your programs, Yvette, it's giving people a way to do that. So as we wrap up today's show, tell us how we can send our listeners to you so that they can get themselves enrolled in this amazing program. How can we find you?
Yeah, so if you just come to www.earthhq.co, my little doggy Jazzy.
Hey, hello, Muffin.
Going, come on, everyone. So it's www.earthhq, so EARTHHQ.co, and then that will get you right into the academy, and I would love to hear from you. So just jump on the contact page, send me an email, and
and Facebook and Instagram. You've got
Facebook, Instagram, absolutely. So we're either Earth HQ or the Earth Academy on Facebook if you just have a little search for us. And on Instagram, there's 3 accounts. My personal account is just Yvette Luciano, it's my name, and then there's Earth_HQ and also Earth Academy, which is just Earth Academy. That's it. So pretty
Fabulous. Awesome. Well, my love, this has been a fantastic 2 weeks of chatting with you about everything that's made you who you are and now what you're making in the world as a result of that. So thank you so much for being so open and so giving with everything that you've shared with us. Our listeners are going to love it.
Oh, you're amazing, Yvette. We've really loved it, sweetheart. Thank you. And on behalf of Cindy, I know she'll be upset, but the tart, if she's going to be over in Moreton Island on a boat, well,
sometimes that's going to happen.
Yep, that's her fault. Thank you so much, Yvette.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure, and what you guys do and the conversations that you bring everyone are just, very inspiring, very important.
Oh, well, we couldn't do it without you, Button Chops.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
From the bottom of our bottoms.
That's it.
Say we love you.
So for everybody listening to today's show, we hope that you've loved it as much as we have. Please head on over to our Facebook page at allthews.facebook.com/up for a chat and post any questions or comments that you have there specifically for Yvette. But also go to our Facebook page and post anything that you'd like us to talk about specifically this year. What are your plans? What's going on in your world this year? How can we help you? So make sure that you post all of that there on our Facebook page, because we really want to hear. The show's value is in your contribution. We've got to make it relevant and important to you. So tell us what you want. When you go to iTunes, make sure that you give us a 5-star rating, please, and tell everybody that you know that Up for a Chat toast rocks. 2016, look out, here we come. You can also go to allthews.thewellnesscouch.com/up for a chat and post any comments or questions that you've got right there too. So thanks everybody for joining us here for another amazing week. Join us here next week on Up for a Chat and become part of the ripple effect that's changing the world. We are going to see you on the 2016 ride. Look out! See you, everybody.
We hope you enjoyed this Wellness Couch podcast brought to you by Audible. Do you find that you just don't have time to read all the awesome books that you hear mentioned on the Wellness Couch? Well, Audible might just have the answer. Audible is offering the Wellness Couch listeners a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. You can get books like Eat Right for Your Blood Type, Why We Get Fat by Gary Taubes, Paleo Diet for Athletes, or even The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. So to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/The Wellness Couch. Again, that's audibletrial.com/The Wellness Couch for your free audiobook.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/The Wellness Couch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives.
Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.